Happy Friday! I intended to give you a polar vortex filter, but they didn't have one, so this is a popular one apparently. So it's the 70th update, and I have been learning lately about the power of tracking process type things. So I'm really proud that I've done these weekly updates, and it's gone really well in my mind. So the last week has been interesting. As usual, people have been the biggest highlight of what's happened. And in particular, I got to talk with a Lean In leader in Seattle, Alicia, who is amazing and has done incredible work there. And she reminded me of how important the book I'm reading right now called Squeezed, Why Families Can't Afford America. So it's really good to see the importance of financial literacy and also inequality, and just to talk with her about what her life transition to be a parent has been like and the stresses that come with that. So that's really great to have someone really smart who's excelling also say that this is really hard, and that's what the book Squeeze talks about. I'll also say that I had a great conversation with a new acquaintance friend, Marius, and he does equity stuff, and through my job at Hennepin County, we're going to be doing a networking breakfast in the fall on that topic. So it's great to connect with him because he's really smart and has a lot to contribute to the world. I've already was thinking this morning about something he said about we're prepared for physical injuries but not emotional trauma. And so he talks a lot about emotional intelligence in his work and setting the stage for people to have these kind of hard conversations in the current situation. So people, the last people that I connected with on the ship were kind of people I had already connected with, but also Nandini, who is just wonderful. She's the wife of Indranil, who was incredible. And we had a great conversation. She got us to have a after dinner walk, or was it an evening walk, which was great. So getting to connect with her, having a new friend in Calcutta, and then also some of the workers on the ship. There was a man, Carlos, who's a waiter in the cafe who has worked for that cruise line for 35 years. And so he could say, he used to be 10 people in a room, now it's 2, and no air conditioning, and this is how it's changed. And he's just done amazing things with his life. And so when I asked my room steward, Raphael, he knew who he was talking about and could tell me some of the leadership that he has taken. And I also met a man who is creating a phone app for the employees to help them with social connections. It's very clearly a big issue for them as they do these kind of 6-month stints away from their families. So lots of people contact and then relating it to the projects that I'm involved in right now. So that has been great in terms of bridging, pulling people into my network. And similarly, well, that's number 1 is people and projects, 1 and 2. And then 3, the third thing that's on my mind is around generosity. And so I haven't gotten to tell people how my mom, which thanks to her, I have this photo of her right here, how she would tell people about her retirement project has been making dresses. And I believe it was a couple from New Jersey who came back after we had lunch together. No, it wasn't Barbados. It must have been, I cannot recall. Anyway, who came back and gave her money for her dresses. So I love that kind of generosity. And that only comes from talking about the things that you really care about. So that made me, anytime I can work a story of generosity into the story, that makes me happy. If you don't know anything about the Bridging Project, it's about supporting unlikely leaders, kind of non-traditional leaders who we really need these days. And so as I've increased my LinkedIn contacts to 23,000, it's really about wanting to share resources with a wide spectrum of people. And so it's not really about the numbers, it's about the reach and hoping I'm reaching a broader population than if I was more careful about that. So that's why I'm pleased about that. And that's why I'm glad you're listening to this report, because I want you to also support the leaders who look like they don't quite fit in, because that's what the Bridging Project is about. And class stuff is something we don't talk about in the United States. And so it's really important that the people who have difficulties, who don't understand the language, either because of the words are too advanced or for various reasons, reaching out to those people and telling them how much you want them to be part of your projects. Let's see. So that is supporting leaders. And then the last thing I'll say is I have been taking a course, an online course called Reset, and it's by the author of the book Unsubscribe. Also, Hurry Slowly is her podcast, Jocelyn Glee. And even though I've been on vacation, I was able to print out her materials, just so many great insights. And the one thing she really talks about is the completion bias. We want to check things off, and that's why it's the 70th. We want to check that off, but it's a false sense of progress. So much of the important things in our lives are hard to actually see progress in. So we have to figure out in clever ways to make it analog or concrete, and so that we keep focusing on these small victories. So I'm already really enjoying what she has to teach, and her focus on obstacle thinking, plan of attack, having 3-month goals, and then breaking it down to things you can track toward those 3 things. And I'll say that I have goals for the new year, and I feel like I'm making progress toward them. But when I change it down to what are the next 3 months, this bridging project and doing more fundraising in March, but not before, and then learning through the Reset course how to do it better. My other one is getting the April Lean In Leaders, what I'll call the Lean In Leaders Super Bowl, our unofficial leaders gathering in Orlando. And once I catch up with stuff, I'll be able to focus more on that. And my third project, I'm sure I'm going to remember what it is. Oh, it's still the long-term project of celebrating the 49th year of my life. And as I was talking to Brooke this morning, we both have January birthdays. Just something about claiming your elder status. And so many elders that I met on the cruise boat don't use software, don't use social media, and thus it makes it hard to stay in touch with them, which is really a shame. But I take from that the lesson that I need to use WhatsApp, and what are the lessons where I can learn about not to be too scared. And then when people decline a photo, to just take pictures of hands or feet or personal objects, things like that. And I guess my very final thing for you is to have all of you hold me accountable to being vulnerable and saying yes to new adventures, which is a slogan I saw all over when I was traveling, and took it home because I met a great woman who is making these in her workshop. So those are my updates. It's been, of course, a dramatic shift from the Caribbean. Florida was kind of cooler, and then coming back to Minnesota during the polar vortex, the drama of that, but also some getting closer and staying in touch with my mom and reflecting on my time with my aunt. So many good things, and definitely hope you can see the forward movement, see the solidarity, and then just the encouragement to reach out to leaders who you think might need extra encouragement. So thanks so much. Goodbye.